Hey friends, Mystery here, and today it's time for a complaint session. So, actually, what's your name? Yeah, can I get your name? I'm gonna need you to get a manager for me. I need to speak to management about this issue. Thank you so much. I'll wait. Yeah, we need to complain. We need to lodge a formal complaint because I mean what I said in the thumbnail. I mean what I said in the title. There is something that is lurking that could be the death of Darktide, right? And Darktide will not die by, being exhausted, by being starved. Darktide will die by cancer metastasizing, by not addressing core issues as the game sprawls and introduces new content and new difficulties. If we don't address the issues at the core of Darktide, then that stuff is going to get baked into the game, and it's going to make it a more and more jank and unpleasant experience for players of all stripes. And so in the video today, I'm going to be making a couple of videos, hopefully before next week, talking about where I think different balance and like sort of the state of the game is across a variety of different facets of Darktide. But this video, I really want to hone in on a few completely broken elements that all showed up in one clip that I thought was the perfect storm of like unattended to past bugs that have still not been ironed out, and use it as a cautionary tale for what happens if the issues, the bugs and broken things that are in the game just go unaddressed forever, and how they stack on top of each other and how they all add up together to make a really, really unpleasant experience for players. So when I was making this video last night, I got ADHD distracted and opened Reginald's stream and saw this happen to him, and I think this is a great place to start the discussion, because watch what happens to him here. He's laughing at me, by the way, because I'm so funny.
Left. Where's the last guy?
Just bugged. Did we not kill them all?
Where's this last guy?
I feel like we killed them all.
So hopefully you understand where the last guy is now. And by the way, if you have no idea what he's talking about, this is a demonhost ritual. This is a havoc only modifier that appears, and when it appears, there's a demonhost who's not active, and around him are 8 summoners. If you kill the 8 summoners, or you start to kill the 8 summoners, you get close to them, they channel faster and faster, and by killing all the summoners, you stop the demonhost from spawning in. However, if you don't kill all the summoners, or if you can't for some reason, then the demonhost spawns in, and this guy is super turbo buffed. He has a lot of health. He's very hard to get off your team. Obviously, like, it's really hard to get away from a demonhost. And if he kills a player, he'll eat them, and then he'll go on to the next player, and then he'll go on to the next player. So he can wipe your entire team, right? They're playing on Havoc 40, so can and will wipe your entire team. Now, Reginald's a very capable player, but he has a bot on his team. And he has this Vicia bot, but he has Elri, right? So, like, sorry, Elri. But the chances that this could wipe the entire team, they could end this game that they've spent more than a half hour in, are pretty damn high. And the only reason they're able to circumvent this is because someone on their team has seen this happen before and knows where that guy actually is, right? Imagine you're a player who's encountered this for the first time, and you have this happen to you when you're playing, and you've been playing for a half hour, and this gets force summoned on you because of some stupid bug like this. You might throw your hands up in the air like, oh well, bugs happen. But this sort of instance, or this issue with this demonhost ritual thing here, is an issue that has been in the game for more than a year. These rituals have been plagued with bugs since they were introduced, and I say this as a person who recently talked about these rituals and said, this is my favorite Havoc modifier. It is the one that I think is the most inspired, that adds the most dynamic choice making to the Havoc game mode, to this endgame super difficult game mode, right? But at the same time, it is horrendously chronically bugged. It is just completely fucked, and it seems like no matter how long they take it out of the game for, when it comes back, it's just as bugged as it ever was, and it doesn't seem like anyone's actually taking the time to address it. So I think it's a perfect place to start the conversation, because we're going to look at a number of bugs that have gone unaddressed and what happens when all of them come together in one nice big orgy of death. So let's start here. This is my gameplay from a stream last night. Now note all this garbage on my screen, except for this cute little piece of garbage right here. That's Bernie. You should become a YouTube member so you can support Bernie. But the challenge and all that stuff, this is my overlay UI for the stream, so ignore that, right? We are going to complain about UI for Darktide's UI in a second. I'm not a UI designer, but apparently Darktide has something that worked for them. So this is a Havoc 17, right? This is brain dead easy for a player like me. I'm cakewalking through this. Look at our team, right? I'm just absolutely storming like through these enemies, bashing them to death. My dog is pouncing everything, no problem. However, we're going to be dead within 2 minutes. How does that happen? Well, it happens because this game breaks itself because of a myriad of bugs that have gone unattended for at least a year or more, and it just absolutely destroys the game. And don't feel bad for me. You know, contrary to popular belief, I have actually lost games of Darktide before, but the players that I'm with here, 2 of these guys are freshies. Like, this was maybe like their first or second game of Havoc ever. And to have this experience, I can only imagine how, like, disheartening that is, right? You get your ass completely fucked, and it's not because, like, you're bad at the game, it's because the game pulled out all stops to destroy you, and not only was it an absolutely humiliating and, like crushing defeat, because we're like 3/4 of the way through this mission, we spent 20 minutes in here, but also it's completely bewildering because none of us, myself included, a incredibly experienced player, had any idea what was going on in this encounter or why it was so fucked, right? So this is a situation where these players very well might say, fuck that, I'm never touching Havoc again, that was some bullshit, and they would be right to do that. And what are the odds? Every time a player says, fuck this, I'm never engaging with the endgame mode again, every time a player says, fuck this, and shuts off the game for the night and rage quits, which this may be rage quit the stream, there's a chance they don't play again. Now, players like Reginald and I, we have like some sort of like weird addiction problems with Darktide, so we're not going to quit the game. But there's a lot of players out there that do, and these sort of bugs and issues and compounding like foundational problems to the way that Darktide is right now are what causes players to be like, yeah, this is too shitty. How many players have you seen on the forums talking about how like they just continue to get disconnected, right? That sort of stuff has been in the game forever. So let's start with this, and then we'll flip back and we'll talk about the individual issues as they happen. So first of all, I've got demonhost rituals. Woo, you know, you knew that was coming back, right? I didn't bring that up for no reason. I've got 2 demonhost rituals. Fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Already, this is probably something that shouldn't be happening, because this on its own, especially on this low difficulty, this is a lot for teams to handle. If there's hordes and stuff in between you and the second ritual, there's a pretty good chance you're not getting in there in time, and then that's just a death sentence for the team, right? So this already is probably a little bit over what the difficulty should be for, especially for like this level of Havoc, right? So this is probably already an inappropriate level of difficulty. However, let's let it play. So you just heard that shield charging noise there. That indicates that this inappropriate level of difficulty is about to get very fucked up. Because what the game has just done is said, oh, there's 2 demonhost rituals. I think I'm going to go ahead and spawn the twins, which are the most difficult boss encounter in the game on top of all that. And after this, you'll hear a horde announcement as well. So the game is clearly doesn't give a fuck about difficulty anymore. It's gone balls to the wall, and it's going to kill us here. But the reason it's going to kill us isn't because there's 2 twins and 2 demonhost rituals. No, it's because there's 2 twins and 3 demonhost rituals. That's right, yes, there's a secret 3rd demonhost ritual the game can't display for us because the UI is not adequately equipped to display more than 2 health bars for bosses at once. And this is an issue that I've harped on before, but I'll bring it back up here. We have never seen an overhaul to the UI in this game. It has been like this, looking exactly like this more or less since its inception. And it is past the point of absurdity at this point. Look at the bottom bar, look at the buff bar, right? Arbites literally had a bug on launch that would crash you to desktop because the Arbites class can generate so many self buffs that it was overflowing the buff bar and causing a crash of the UI, which would crash the whole game, right? That is a foundational issue, and it's a perfect example of what I'm trying to talk about here, is we have a foundational issue with the UI in this game being unequipped for where the game is in the modern era, and it's never been updated. The only updates we've seen is adding like, oh yeah, now you know the Psyker doesn't use grenades. Great. Like, What about implementing a cooldown timer, like an actual seconds timer for the abilities rather than just having it be an arbitrarily full hexagon? What about letting players select buffs they actually want to show rather than just having it be a busy mess of, oh, thank God I have blue circle. Thank God I have 5 stacks of, I guess, tiny dog, right? This is not providing me any of the information that I need. We've done some progress in terms of like stamina and dodge bar, but we are so far from where we need to be with the amount of nonsense this game can currently throw at you. So yeah, we have compounding issue upon compounding issue here. Oh, by the way, for the boss health bars, there's been a mod that exists for this and for the cooldown timer, right? And for these buffs. These mods that fix these sort of things that allow you to actually show, you know, up to 10 boss health bars have been available for this game for years, like literal years. And they'll actually even color code them so I can tell, oh, is this Demon Host ritual this one? Yes. Is this Demon Host ritual one that's over here? Yes. Like that sort of stuff is information that players need if you're going to make the game this fucking crazy. But it's just been thrown to the wayside because there is no desire to pay attention to anything that's in the past, or if there is, it's like in really, really, really small amounts. And this is something that really worried me when I saw an interview with the game director of Fat Shark, and he said, like, you know, players want more mods and more accessibility features and like these things like rolled into the base game. He was talking with Jefficus, I believe, but like that takes dev time. Clearly, there is an issue like with dev time at Fat Shark. Like that is their limiting factor. They just don't have enough time on the books to develop new content and go back to, like, you know, keep up with old content. And it's really, really starting to show at this point, because every time we add new stuff to the game, it means the attention that can be paid to the old stuff, to the foundational stuff even, is less and less. As a perfect example of this, I'm gonna let this play while I talk anyway. As a perfect example of this, we have the Ogren, who most players at this point are saying, like, please give the Ogren some new weapons and an overhaul so that he feels as good and like as capable to play as other players do, because right now he's pretty miserable, right? But the Ogren got a rework a year ago, and it was when he was one of 4 characters. Now he's one of 6, and in 3 months he'll be one of 7. What do you think the odds are that the Ogren is going to be the focus of the development time when there's 7 characters? There's literally 6 other characters that we need to be concerned about balancing right now, right? We just saw the Hive Scum, and it took all the devs time for weeks to get the Hive Scum all sorted out into where he needed to be. And what happens when it, you know, whatever the first update of this year, let's say it's Chaos Waste, like what happens when Chaos Waste release and it's like really buggy, right? And we had to spend 2 months of hot fixes to get Chaos Waste to where it needs to be. What happens to all these issues with the base game? What happens to, you know, Havoc, which a lot of players have issues with the D-ranking system, or disconnects, or whatever it'll be, right? What happens to all that stuff? What happens to weapon balance issues that players have, you know, very clear weapon imbalances that exist in the game, and like power problems that exist in the game? Is all that stuff going to be thrown to the wayside? I don't mean to fearmonger here. Like, I'm not trying to, like, you know, make you feel like, oh, doom and gloom, like, oh yeah, you know, Fat Shark is going to make the wrong decision. They're going to throw them to the wayside. But all of the stuff that you're seeing in this clip here, like all these bugs and like errors and just compounding issues, have been in the game for a long time, and they've gone unaddressed. And so it makes me feel like they will continue to go unaddressed. And like, you're about to see a great example of something that has gone unaddressed for more than a year and kills me in this clip. Watch this. See how this Demon Host is out here, and I'm waiting for him to come around this corner so I can hit him? Oh, would you look at that? He clipped through the floor underneath the wall, and he hit me, and then he hits me again, and he kills me, right? These Demon Hosts that summon from this ritual, and I think the normal ones as well, have been able to clip through the floor for more than a year now, and it has gone unaddressed, right? At this point, I have to feel like it's probably just never going to be fixed, because it's a pretty small fish to fry. Fat Shark has bigger fish to fry. But, you know, there's a lot of small fish in this game, and they're building up. There's just more and more of them compounding in such a way that I can point out no less than 4 different small fish, like these rituals being buggy, the Demon Host clipping through the floor, the UI not showing enough boss bars, the difficulty, like deciding it can spawn the twins on top of 3 bosses in a horde, right? All this stuff is compounding, and it's making the base game like, it's making the game feel unpleasant. It's making the game feel like a chaotic, absolute clusterfuck of broken systems. And for us players who've played for like ever, we're just like, oh yeah, that's just how it is, right? You should just expect that demonhost rituals are broken. But new players come into this and are like, what the hell is this shit? Like, everything is bugged in this game and it's never fixed. At what point are, you know, right now most players know that like bursters are incredibly bugged. Reginald made a video about this as well. And bursters will just walk up to you and not even detonate, and that causes so many players to fucking wipe, because then they like have to push them and then wait for them to fall down again. It is like the most infuriating thing in the world. If it doesn't get fixed in this update, should I just throw my hands up in the air and say like, oh, well, fuck it, I guess it's never getting fixed, and that just becomes part of the base game experience now? And you know, you could say, Mr. E, make a video on it, but it's not my responsibility to go through and pluck out all of the biggest bugs in the game and make a big video, like, you know, calling all this attention to it and saying, please, goddamn it, fix this, right? That should be Fat Shark's responsibility, to be watching what's going on with their game and seeing that these things are serious issues that players are encountering on a daily basis, because it is not a uncommon thing, and players are making a really big issue of it on the forums, in videos, etc. And this, like, oh, another great one, captains that can instantly kill you with their shield bursting, like their shield burst attack, right? That's a known problem, and players know what causes it, and it still hasn't been removed from the game, or it still hasn't been patched out of the game. And I know these seem like small little nitpicky things, but how many times do you got to get killed by a burster that refuses to detonate? How many times you got to get killed by a demonhost clipping through the floor, or glitchy ass rituals, or insta kills from captain shields, or whatever else it might be, before you get frustrated with the game and just quit, right? And that is at the core of what I'm saying here. Is we are baking this glitchy nonsense crap into the foundation of this Darktide that we want to build to be this big beautiful mansion, right? But what's happening is the foundation is all full of garbage. It's all buggy and it's rickety, and we're going to end up, because we're growing in every given direction. We got Mortis Trials on this side, we got Havoc over here. I'm getting the feeling of one of those like Indian favela houses where it's built out of like 5 different types of mud brick and like sheet metal, and an earthquake is going to knock this thing down and kill like 200 people, right? That is the feeling that I'm getting as Darktide grows in all these weird and disparate ways, and we add new game modes and add new characters. Is it like, we're never going to go back and address the foundational issues. So that is the focus. That is what I need to call your attention to. If you like to post in the forums, if you, you know, whatever, if you want your voice to be heard and if you think this is an important thing, bring it up. Don't just go on the forums and say, oh, we need new content, we need new enemies. Make sure that Fat Shark knows that we think it's important that these fundamental bugs and issues with the game are addressed as well, because it does not bode well for Darktide if they continue, right? If this is like, if this stuff, these core things, do the enemies work? Does the UI function and give the appropriate information? Is the difficulty of the game and are the weapons like appropriate for the difficulty, right? Are the classes equally balanced? That is the DNA of Darktide. That is the absolute core of it. And you know what happens if like there's an error? Grow and increase and multiply and just is let go for years and years. That's called cancer, right? And that is what could kill Darktide. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you.